Hello, my name is Mark and welcome to Mustangs Plus and Restomod's how-to video. Today we're going to be installing Grab-A-Track front shocks and Grab-A-Track rear shocks. These shocks have a lifetime warranty. They come with all the installation hardware. They are a heavy-duty gas shock, and most important, they're made in the US of A, both front and rear. We've got instructions, but with this how-to video, we're going to make it short and sweet, and it won't take very long to get them installed, and you'll be on your way. With that, let's get going. Okay, we're ready to remove our shock, and before we do that, I just want to let you know we're going to take out the two bolts holding the shock. We're going to take out the shock tower cap, which has 3 nuts holding it, and what this will do, it will allow the shock to expand, and there will be no load whatsoever on the shock when we remove the 2 nuts on the bottom. Okay, with that, we're going to take this thing apart. Okay, we've got the 2 bolts out, and we'll just take out these 3 nuts, and the shock tower cap will come right off. Okay, now we're ready to jack up the car. We have a lift tonight, but if you're at home, you want to make sure you support it very safely. Jack it up, support it with jack stands. Take off your front wheel, and you'll have access to the bottom 2 nuts. And you'll remove those, and the shock will come right out. Okay, we've got the car up on a lift, and we've got our lower control arm down, and we've got our socket on one of the nuts that we're going to take off here. We've got 2 of them to take out, and once they fall out, you can just let them drop. We'll get on the other one, and we'll be able to pull the shock right out. Now, for some reason, while you're doing this or before you start, and you cannot get to the nut here against the frame, you may want to get a floor jack and put it up under the lower control arm, jack it up a little bit, and it'll change the pitch, and it'll make it a lot easier for you to get in there. Okay, we've got that one out. We'll use an open end wrench here, and we'll take this one out. We just got to walk it off. Okay, we'll get all this hardware out, the rubber bushing, and we should be able to just lift right out the shock that we're going to replace. We're ready to put in the new lifetime Grab-A-Track shocks. Okay, we've got our new Grab-A-Track gas shock. We're going to get it installed. We're going to drop it right here down the shock tower. Get it placed in on the perch, and we're going to get our hardware on there, get it all tightened down, and we'll be ready to go here. Okay, we'll just get this all tightened up. Once we get this cinched down, we'll get the back nut on, tightened, and we'll finish up on top. Okay, we've already put the tire back on. We've lowered the car. We've got all the weight back on, and you can see that the top of the shock has come back to the top. We've got our shock tower cap. We're going to get that mounted, and we'll also get that all screwed down, tighten it up. We'll finish up with our 2 bolts on the top. And we'll have this side all complete. Once we're done, you'll repeat the process on the other side, which is identical. Okay, last 2 bolts, just push it down a little bit, get them started. Last one here. Make sure everything's nice and tight. There you have it. We've completed this side. Let's just go over to the other side and repeat the process, and we'll be good to go. The fronts are all done. Okay, we're ready to get our rear grab-a-track shocks in, and what we have to do first is remove the back seat assembly, which consists of the bottom, the back, the divider board, and once we get that all out, we'll have access to the holes holding the shocks in from the top. Okay, we're going to take out the nut holding the upper shock in. We've got a nut, and it could be a little tricky. You just got to stick your hands in there and pull everything out. Rubber, that is it. We're done. We'll lift the car up, loosen up the hardware, take the hardware out the bottom, remove the shock, and we'll start the installation process in reverse from the bottom, finish up here on top. Okay, we've got our car lifted up, and we're going to remove the hardware here at the bottom. We've got a lock nut, a jam nut, and a lock nut we're going to take out here. And with that, we'll be able to take the shock completely out. Washer, bushing. Let's just push up on the shock. Here's our old shock. We're pulling out and replacing it with a grab-a-track. Okay, we've got our new grab-a-track gas charged shock. We're ready to get it installed. We'll lift it up, get it into the top hole, just ease it up, let it sit right back down. We've got our lower bushing, get it on, get our nuts in there, tighten them down. Get our jam nut on there. We're done. We'll go back up top, get everything tightened up there, and we will have new grab-a-tracks installed. Now, before we get back on top, we'll do the same thing we did here on the opposite side, and that'll conclude it from down here. Okay, we're back here in the car. We're gonna get our hardware back in, which is the bushing and our large washer. We'll get our bushing on the shock, our washer, nut. Okay, and we'll get that all cinched down. And we've got one more on this side. get our access holes covered, and what we'll do, we'll get our seat assembly back in, our panel, the back seat lower, and we'll be done. Okay, as you can see, we're all done. We've got Grab-A-Track shocks on all 4 corners. It's going to make our ride really smooth. I think this job went really well, and I'm going to sit back and we're going to take off and go for a nice smooth ride.